Hello everybody, this is Albert with Green Tea House. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to talk about our homemade blend, our dark chocolate peppermint black tea. Now before we begin, I highly recommend you check out our back catalog of episodes, in particular the playlist on what is tea, what's the difference between green tea, white tea, black tea, what temperature should you steep your tea, and so forth. And I'll definitely put in banners here for black tea related episodes. So this is one of our blends here, and it's a great tea. It's black tea with dark chocolate and peppermint. And the reason we decided to do this blend is because, I mean, look, most people like all three of these things. And personally, I eat a lot of dark chocolate. I eat 90 to 94% of the bitter stuff, and I eat that almost daily. I love dark chocolate. When I was a child, I couldn't stand it, but as I got older, I love it. And so like when I eat regular milk chocolate, I just can't eat it. It's just way too sweet. So in our blend, we use black tea. Now we have episodes here on what is black tea. So as a refresher, black tea is fully oxidized leaves from the Camellia sinensis plant. Many times when we see black tea, it's crushed, teared, and curled, meaning it's pulverized, and that's the tea that you commonly find in iced tea. And also, it's the tea that you're going to find in low-grade black teas, whether they be a chai tea or an English breakfast tea or an Earl Grey or so forth. Since it's fully oxidized as opposed to green tea, which is not oxidized at all, green tea is going to have more of an herbaceous taste, like an herby taste, fresh taste. Black tea is going to be more robust. What do we mean by robust? Robust would be something that's full-bodied, more like coffee. So the good thing about black tea, and this is one of the reasons why black tea is pretty popular, is black tea is the type of tea that you can add with milk and sugar, whereas you can't do that with green tea unless you're doing matcha. So black tea is a good base for a lot of, I guess, blends or flavored teas. Probably the most famous of these is going to be Earl Grey. We sell a blue flower Earl Grey, which I would tell you is very good. Another really well-known blend would be chai tea, which is going to be mixed with cinnamon and cardamom and cloves. We have an episode there as well on that tea. So here we're using black tea as the base. We're using Assam. So there's various black teas. There's Chinese black teas. Most black teas are going to be coming from former British colonies like India, Kenya, Sri Lanka, and there's various types of black teas. There's Nilgiri, there's Darjeeling, and one of them is Assam. So Assam's a region of India that's kind of nestled. It's that part of India that looks like an exclave. It's separated from the rest of it. And over there they will, in India, have two types of the Camellia sinensis plant variant. So Camellia sinensis, which is the classic tea leaf, that's one found in China and Japan. Then there's also Camellia sinensis assamica, Assam, which is going to be bigger leaf, and because of this, it has a bolder taste. So this is where Assam, the tea that we use, the black tea that we use as the base, comes from. So because it's Assam tends to have a more malty, robust taste. Then what we do is we add cocoa nibs. Cocoa nibs are going to be pieces that come from the cacao. So the cacao is the bean that chocolate comes from before we super refine it and put it into M&Ms and so forth. So the cacao is the heart of chocolate. If you buy milk chocolate, for example, like a Hershey's bar, chocolate, and it's not even cacao, but the chocolate, and it's going to be the third ingredient behind sugar and milk. So, again, milk chocolate is very adulterated. The closer you get to cacao, the healthier it is for you. And so that's why dark chocolate, high percentage dark chocolate, if you buy a good brand, has a lot of cacao. So we use cocoa nibs or cacao nibs, which are pieces from the cacao. So it's the best way, I guess, to look at it is you're getting 95% dark chocolate. But it's even less refined than what's in the candy bars. So when you smell cacao or cocoa nibs, you're definitely going to smell chocolate, that earthy chocolate. So we throw that in there, and you can definitely smell it. And you can see the picture that'll include of the dry leaves. You can see the black tea. It's not CTC. Black tea typically, even when it's not CTC, it's going to be smaller branches, as you can see in the Assam. Then you'll see pieces of the nibs. And then what we do is we add in peppermint. So peppermint is just a great complement to chocolate. We see this in ice cream. We see this in a lot of places where you see chocolate and mint combined together. You see it in variants in coffee. You can see it in variants of even creamer for coffee. So it makes sense if we're going to put chocolate to put some peppermint. I chose peppermint over spearmint because peppermint tends to be more mentholy and more refreshing. So you get this complement of peppermint, loose leaf, tea, even though we know peppermint is not a tea because it doesn't come from the Camellia sinensis plant, it comes from peppermint, so we should call it a tisane. But complementing high quality chocolate with peppermint leaves, with a black tea like Assam, gives this tea a very refreshing, robust, chocolatey taste. And that's why I think it's a great tea. Now, this is a tea that you can milk and sugar it. It's going to be up to you how you do that. I drink it as is, boring, because I drink all my teas as is and boring. I would tell you, maybe Casey will do a video later on making like a matcha latte or making this tea with milk and sugar. Personally, I don't drink a lot of these teas with milk and sugar, but I would recommend that you warm up the milk before you add it, because you add cold milk to a warm tea, it's really gonna cool it down. So that's what I would recommend, but I would add a little milk, a little sugar until you get to your liking. Now, I just showed the liqueur of this tea. It has kind of a, I guess you could say, an amber-esque quality. It is predominantly black, and remember, black tea is called red tea in China because it has a red look to it. Rarely will you ever find black tea that looks black. Black tea that looks black would be something like pu'er, which is not a black tea. It's a fermented dark tea. But you can see the nice color liqueur to it. You can smell the chocolate and you can smell the malty Assam. And when it comes to caffeinated levels, it's relatively high because it is a black tea and it has cacao, which is pure chocolate, so that's going to have caffeine. So depending on how you handle caffeine, maybe don't drink it late at night, but ultimately everyone's different. I mean, there's people that can drink coffee at 10 p.m. and still go to sleep. Then there's people like me who can't have anything caffeinated after 2 o'clock. So it's really up to you. So I would probably steep this around 190. That's a good thing for black tea. And black tea, since it's fully oxidized, is not as sensitive to temperature. So if you want to do 185, 190, even higher than that, that's totally fine. And I would re-steep the leaves 3 times at least to get a good session out of it. So guys, I highly recommend you check out our local blend. Again, we sell it in 1 ounce or 3 ounce packages. Post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. What's your take on this tea or black tea in general? Until next time, take care. God bless.